morning, welcome back to Raymies Garage. Today we've got a Range Rover Evoque. I think it's 2015, and we've got a couple of problems with it. It's needing two new front tyres, and the offside front spring has broken. So we're not going to do a video on that. We're going to stick it for an MOT and get them to fix that spring, because we've tried to fix springs before on struts. We don't really have the equipment to do that, although we have spring compressors, but they're not great and very dangerous, so I'm not going to do that. But today, before it goes for a repair and its MOT, we're going to carry out a service on this car. It's due its service. We'll get the mileage on that in a second. We're going to do an oil filter change, and we're going to change the fuel filter, air filter, cabin filter, and give it an all-round check, just to make sure it's okay. But a very nice car for my daughter-in-law, Karine. So let's get started and we'll get on with the service for this car. So we shall take these off first. Just slacken this pipe. This is the mass airflow sensor here. It feels quite tight. I think there's a bolt in there if I remember correctly. We'll take the air filter box off. Oh, sorry guys, just bumped you there. So the air filter's fairly straightforward. This one a wee tiny bit dirty, not too bad, but we'll change that as well. It's part of the service we want to carry out. There's a bolt just back here. I think that looks like a 10, which is holding this on here. Everything wobbly here, just a bit awkward. That's it. Try and get that with my fingers. Save me dropping it down at the engine. Yeah, it's coming. Magnet in here to get it. Now it's there. And there's a. There we go. I don't really know if I need to take that pipe off. You'll notice inside here there's quite a bit of oil. Well, not quite a bit, but there is certainly oil in there. It's probably coming from this return pipe here. There we go. So there's just two wee clamps here where you would push that to get it off. You can see the oil is coming out that. I think there's a couple of grommets holding this on. 1, 2. So this is the fuel filter here, and I'm just recalling think there's a couple of nuts in there. Let's see that. So there is a couple of 10mm nuts this side, and there's two, sorry, one on that side, two on this side. That allows you to take this plate off because we need to get into that. It's one slack. Seems to be a bit awkward, this one. Two. And three. So they were quite slack. One nut. I probably could get my wrench in there and take that off, my power wrench. However, we're nearly there. I can just about barely get it in my hands there, still a wee fraction tight. So that came out with the stud on it. And the last one, which is down here, which I think is quite slack already. Yeah. See if I can get that with my hands. I'll take these. I think this is the first time we've worked on this car, so it is. It's tightened up on me again. Yeah, first time I've worked on this car. They've had it for about 8 months. Due a service. I think it was service when they bought it from the dealer. But we always like to service our cars regularly. And there's my 10mm spanner gone. It is slack, but it's just tightening up on me ever so slightly. Let's get my hand under it. Go. So that's the 3 bolts out. It's holding this plate on. Ah, there's a 4th one there. My mistake. There is a 4th one, I just couldn't see it there. It's there. Yeah, so 4 bolts. There we go. And there's a wee strap round here, you'll see. Nothing that plate will come out. There's the plate there. And there's a strap there. Now holding the filter in are 3 bolts, Allen headed bolts. this one, get that out. Don't drop it. And our fuel filter should be sitting nice and slack now. So it's just a matter of connecting or disconnecting the lines. I shall get a couple of towels in there because we will get a fuel spill in here. So I'll stick a couple down here. And down there. So this is the electrical connection. It is on that pipe. So I'll take that off first. I think it's a lift, so we just lift that. Takes it out. And these, some of them lift up, some of them compress. So we just need to take these 4 connections off. Again, we'll just check. That looks like that. The connector is actually on the connector's on the line. So all looks fine. Okay. So this is a small metal pin. And this one. I just don't want to take it up too much. So there's one, so you just push these 2 wee tabs in. I think this one's a squeeze. Yeah, squeeze that down. Pull that, so 2 lines out for that side. And I think this is a squeeze as well. This is the pressure side maybe. I'm surprised it's as tight as that. It's not tight on that, it's actually tight on the hose itself, because there's not a lot of movement in that. And it's quite difficult to get a grip. And pull it back. There we go. So that's 3 off. Now this one, it's a squeeze as well, but it's sitting sideways. So just push that in. There we go. So that's the 4 connections off. There's a slight dribble. There's not much fuel coming out there as I thought would come out. This will be full of fuel. So when you're lifting it out, just make sure you don't sit it sideways. Now there will be a hose in the bottom of it. And there is an electrical connection on that one. Just going to stick that down here. So, it looks like this may be the wrong fuel filter. I'm going to go and empty this, or I shall put some wee plugs on it. Oh, that's interesting. There's actually no pins in there, but we do have an electrical connector, which is here, and the new one is exactly the same. I didn't see the breather pipe on there. Sitting down here, it allows any fuel to come out there. Not much play in this cable, that's for sure. cable in. Our hose is nearly on. That goes in there. Click, push down, click there. Probably should have put these two in first, but there we go. Usual window. So that's the 4 of them in. That connector goes in there, but we'll get our nuts on first. And the last one, which goes in here. Just don't want to cross thread it. That's better. Try that again. If I can get the... That's it that time. So that's how easy it is to change the filter. We'll put that back on. Now, the process is now we need to make sure we bleed that to get the fuel filter filled with fuel first. So we'll do that now, just to get the fuel filter bled. So in order to bleed this, there are a couple of ways you can do that. You can follow the pipe over to here, which is a fuel inlet pipe, and you could disconnect this pipe and put pressure into the fuel tank and you'll get fuel up here. What I'm going to do is I've connected into this pipe here with a piece of hose, and what we've got is a vacuum oil fuel liquid extractor run from the compressor, which will create a vacuum, and we should be able to vacuum out any air into here, and we'll see how that... I'm not sure I've got 100% fit in this one here, but we can give it a go anyway. I think it'll pull enough vacuum in there to start to fill this up, and we can see it in the hose, so we'll give that a go. Switch that off, and we've got vacuum building up here. There we go. We'll do a vacuum. We'll open this valve here. That's the end of our hose. Nope. Let's have a go at this one. don't think this pipe's quite fitting in there. Or that one, let's see. Build the vacuum up. And we'll see if we can get some out here. Yeah, we're getting some fuel. It's not the best fit, that though. You can see bubbles appearing here. And there we go, so you can see the fuel running by. Still got vacuum on with the machine. You can see some air bubbles coming out here. I don't know whether the air bubbles are coming from this or not, but I think that's probably... I'll just wait till this vacuum ends or reduces. But yeah, we're certainly getting fuel out there, so that means that should be full of fuel. Let's stop that, or actually not, let's keep that going. Now stop it now to take this pipe off here and get that pipe on there, which will be quite awkward. There we go, and we'll just suck that out. That's that. So what I'll do now is I will cycle the engine a couple of times. I'll stick the air filter in there and we will run the engine just to make sure it starts. So, new air filter, nice and clean, nice and shiny. I will put back the bits and pieces because we'll need the mass airflow sensor in there, because it will not run properly at all. So what I want to do first of all is just to cycle a couple of times. I expect it to start, but it might cut out first time. So what I'm doing here is basically getting the fuel pump to pump fuel up to the top of the engine. Let's go for it. So we've started. Just let it tick over. Bit restricted performance. Okay. So, car started. That seems to be fine. So by priming the filter or sucking out any air in the fuel filter has allowed us to start that. Okay, so we'll put the top cover back on. You don't need that at this point. Then again, I am going to take the oil filter off. Which is down here somewhere. Which is down there. Okay. So we're going to do an oil change. We've got all this back on again, got our bolts in, I've tightened all this stuff up, and I normally use an engine flush when I'm doing this, so Usually put this in and let the car come up to temperature. Gets all the gunk and sludge out the car, out the engine. And then we drain the oil from that. So we'll get the car started, let it run for 10-15 minutes, get the oil up to temperature. Meanwhile we're doing that, we'll get the under tray off. Wait till the car's up to temperature and we will get the oil out it. Looks pretty clean, not many oil leaks at all. So engine's up to temperature. I'll get this plug out. A wee bit tight, that. Looks as if it's cross-threaded, maybe. There we go. And we'll just let that drain. Maybe get a new crush washer on that, check the threads and see how we go. So while the oil's draining, I'm going to take out the fuel filter, which is down here. I've got a 27mm socket on that. It's quite an awkward one to get to. Just slackening it now and we'll get the oil tray underneath it. Not sure how much you can see of that. But quite an awkward filter to take off. Oh, that's it coming now. Just need to see where the oil is going to drip from.
Will the tray arrive?
Yep, the tray's here.
Did you put flush in it?
Yep, flush is in it. That's us off. We've got oil coming now. We've got catching it. Yeah. So I'm going to try and do this with one hand. And there we have the oil filter. I'll put that over there and out. Right, so old filter. Looks a bit crushed there, doesn't it? New O-ring. This doesn't go in any particular way. There's no keyway in it. And we've got a wee bit of oil, which is on my hands. Maybe even on that filter, that'll do. Get the old one off. So, old O-ring off, the new one on. Just make sure it's sitting in the groove. And that's us, ready to reinstall. So you've got to watch, this is a plastic filter, and there are two wee tabs on that to try and push the socket onto it to keep it on.
Right.
Although doesn't work very well. Right. So this is us putting it back on. It feels a wee bit tight, that actually. Right, that's not very good, but there it's there. So we'll just tighten that down. So that's the filter on. The problem with this filter, it's sitting at a strange angle, and I've got this tool which is a 3/8 ratchet with a 22, I think it is. Yeah, sorry, 27mm, and it's kind of got to go in at that angle to catch it. It's quite difficult even for the top and the bottom, but we do have 3 Evoques in the Raymies family, and I bought that specifically. I also bought this pivoting 27mm 12-point ratchet, which is okay, but if you can get the socket on it, it's fine. I bought both there just in case I couldn't get one or the other, but not very often using a 27mm ring 12-point spanner. But anyway, that's us on. So I'm going to stick some oil in it. I'll probably put 4 litres in it, and we will take it from there. So when I say I'm going to put 4 litres in it, I'm not just putting 4 litres, I'll put 4 litres in now, because this jug here is quite difficult to pour with 4 or 5 litres in it, without spilling it, of course. So I think the car takes about 5.5, I think it is. I'll stick that on the video somewhere to let you see that, but it's definitely about 5-ish. So that's 4 litres in. So I'm not sure if you noticed, when you're doing your oil check on a Range Rover Evoque, in my opinion, this is possibly the worst dipstick I have ever came across, because it's twisted. It's twisted, and when you put oil in it, it seems to mark the whole side of the dipstick. I'll probably not do it now that I've said that. Okay. And there's a wee drop in the bottom, so we'll get another 2 litres in. Or litre in it. Alright, just bashed you with the camera there. Okay, final test. Let's have a wee check. Yep, that looks pretty good. So I'm just going to check the brake fluid, and I know this is low. So I'll just top that up. that's that. So that's brake fluid done, fuel filter, air filter, oil and oil filter. So just the cabin filter to do and a couple more wee checks here and there and we should be good to go. So that's us finished with the Range Rover Evoque. We have carried out a service. We've changed the fuel filter, we've changed the air filter, the oil filter, we've changed the cabin filter, we've changed the oil, we've checked the brakes are all fine, we've checked the belt which is all fine, brakes on this side are all fine as well. Probably due a cam belt replacement maybe in a year or so. We've also sent it for 2 new tyres, and I think I mentioned before about the spring under here is broken, which is quite a common occurrence, so that's been replaced and it's had an MOT, so that'll be it for another year. So that's us finished with the Evoque. It took us a wee bit of time. Apologies about the light, but the car's going away, and we've replaced the 2 indicators as well on the wing mirrors for the sweeping ones, and I'll stick that on another video. So thanks for that, take care, see you in the next one.